Alright, what's happening, everybody? Looper Norris here. Welcome back to another one of my videos for this channel here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Top 104 rappers, greatest rappers of all time. This is based off of my opinion, based off of the knowledge I have in terms of like listening to like hip hop music from back in like the 80s, doing a top 104. Yeah, so the last video you guys seen, I did 104 to 96. So today we're going to be doing 95 to 86. I want to say before I get into the list, once again, this is based off of lyrical content, the impact that each rapper had, how good are they at making the track itself, right? So this one's number 95. So this one is number 95 goes to Deacon the Villain. This guy's from Kentucky. He worked with KRS-One. I think he produced a beat for him or produced an album for him. And he was also associated with a group called, I've seen his name before back in the day, looking up for some rappers. I think it was KRS-One. I was looking up some of his music, and then I think I seen his name on a couple of like credentials in terms of like beats and like songs. So I think I seen his name come up. That's a group that he started back in the day before he got into his solo career. He's a producer too, so he worked with a bunch of other rappers, made beats for them, and made his own beats. So it's pretty cool, pretty lyrical, you know what I mean, in terms of style. But he was more like a lyrical style rapper, you know what I mean, and made beats for other people. So that's pretty cool. So we're gonna go on to the next rapper here. We got number 94, and number 94 goes to Fat Joe. So a lot of you guys probably know who Fat Joe, even though he's an old school rapper. Fat Joe has been prolific for like a long period of time in his career. He was making music when he was in his 20s all the way to like his 40s, you know what I mean? Even today, I still think he's putting out songs, so that's pretty incredible to see. He's from New York City. He started a record label called Terror Squad and signed a bunch of artists that have their own careers today. He has a pretty good eye for talent, or ear for talent, you can say. Signing people like Remy Ma, I'm pretty sure. Big Pun, he's like a super legend, and I think he's like related. I think he's related to Fat Joe. I'm not sure if he's his brother or his cousin, but he's related to Fat Joe. He also discovered DJ Khaled and Cool and Dre. Yeah, I think they're a producing duo. He discovered them, and he also discovered DJ Khaled, a pretty famous name today. Yeah. That's Fat Joe. So that's not number 94 on my list. Going over to number 93, we got Juicy J. This is a Memphis-based rapper. It's kind of old school, just because like he's the founding members of 3-6 Mafia, and 3-6 Mafia is an old school trap group from like maybe like the 90s, like the late 90s to like the early 2000s. With like I think Project Pat. Can't remember like the other members, but he's a founding member of that group. Pretty famous, pretty well known, you know what I mean? He's kind of like a pioneer with that trap sound, especially coming out of Memphis, where a lot of trap music comes from. He's kind of like a pioneer, starting all that music, or one of the first like superstars coming out with that style of music. Yeah, Juicy J is actually pretty nice. Like I personally like him as a rapper. He's more of like he's more of like the type of rapper that's gonna make a song for like a strip club, you know what I mean, or like a club where you're like partying a nightclub, you know what I mean. He has that style. He's not really lyrical. Pretty significant in hip hop history. That's why I have him at 93 and on this list. So very well deserved to be at 93. Next we got at number 92. We got K Rhino. All right. So this is a Houston, Texas based rapper. Old school, very old school. From like he was big in like the 90s, I believe. Started a group called Real Chill. He's been an independent rapper his entire career, so that's actually a really cool thing to know. Made his own beats. He's been under his own label his entire career, even till this day. Makes his own beats, so that's pretty cool. Very lyrical rapper, very lyrical. So we're gonna continue on to number 91, and number 91 on my list we got Billy Woods. So Billy Woods is a New York based rapper. He was born in Washington, but ended up moving to New York after like living in Africa, I think. He's a member of Arm& Hammer. Very lyrical rapper, very underground. He has like no popish like style in his music. A lot of his songs are very dark. It's kind of like the style that like falls under the category of styles that I would listen to, you know what I mean? He makes the kind of music that I would basically listen to. Yeah, so that's 91st rapper on my list, Billy Woods, and we're gonna move on to the 90th rapper on my list, which is Open Mike Eagle. So we got Open Mike Eagle at number 90 from Chicago, Illinois. He is a lyrical rapper, another lyrical rapper, underground rapper, you know what I mean? He has some videos on YouTube with like pretty decent numbers, but like most of his work is underground, you know what I mean? He has like an open mic studio in Los Angeles, I believe. So you can kind of get an idea of like what he's about in terms of like if he's underground or if he's like more on the pop side. You can tell that he's more on the underground side. You know what I mean? Working with people that do open mics and like, you know, like he's that type of a rapper, you know what I mean? He cares more about the music more so than just making millions off of like videos. So I get that sense of a type of person or a type of rapper he is. The group that he has, the open mic label that he has is called Project Blowed. So if you're ever interested in like knowing more about that, that's the name of it. Oh yeah, and he also formed a group. I forgot what the group is called. I don't have it written down here, but most of you guys might know who Dumbfounded is. He's a battle rapper from Los Angeles. I won't get into much information about him, but he basically started a rap group with this guy here, Open Mike Eagle. So that's pretty cool to know. If you know who Dumbfounded is, it's cool to know that he came from a group with this rapper here, Open Mike Eagle. So this Open Mike Eagle guy is pretty sick, actually. Another rapper that I would listen to personally. That's number 90. Now on to number 89, we got Space Ghost Perp. Space Ghost Perp is a Miami, Florida based rapper from Miami, Florida. He started a group called Raider Clan, and this is a rapper slash producer. He makes his own beats too. He's a producer too. This is an artist that I used to listen to a lot when I was younger. He actually was associated with A$AP Rocky. Most of you, if not all of you, you know who A$AP Rocky is. Okay, like sorry, no, we're not talking about A$AP Rocky. We're not talking about A$AP Rocky. We're talking about Space Ghost Perp. But A$AP Rocky is associated with Space Ghost Perp. They started out their careers kind of like friends with each other, and then at a certain point, they started beefing with each other. They started getting into fights with each other, and then diss tracks and all of that. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens a lot in hip hop history. You know what I mean? Two rappers from like different, like not really different styles, but maybe like different like regions. Cause A$AP Rocky's from New York and Space Ghost Perp's from Florida. They become friends and then they become enemies afterwards. You know what I mean? It's my side against your side. So something like that sort of thing happened with these two guys here. But Space Ghost Perp, he's more of a producer than a rapper. I feel like he's a better producer than he is at rapping. And yeah, he kind of has like that dark style, that trap style, where he's talking about like gun violence and like drugs and all of that stuff. And like super dark stuff, you know what I mean? But he kind of like took a lot from like 3 6 Mafia and like groups like that, and kind of like put it into his own music, you know what I mean, to kind of like carry out that style. So pretty good rapper. Produced for a lot of rappers too. Produced for like Wiz Khalifa, A$AP Rocky, like back in the day. He produced for a lot of rappers, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he produced. I think he produced for like Juicy J too, for like a few tracks. That's Space Ghost Perp for number 89. For number 88, we got Styles P. So Styles P is a New York-based rapper. He's associated with the Locks, D Block Records. So he was under the label D Block Records before getting into Rough Riders with his longtime childhood friend Jadakiss. You hear the name Styles P, Jadakiss will automatically pop up in your head. These are two rappers that basically rapped with each other almost like the way the clips were, you know what I mean, with Malice and Pusha T. It's kind of like the same thing, except they're not brothers, but they're almost like a duo. You know what I mean? Styles P, he's more of like a lyrical rapper. A lot of New York rappers. A lot of rappers coming out of New York, they're gonna usually be more lyrical. Once again, associated with Jadakiss and the Locks and Rough Riders and all those guys. You know what I mean? Pretty good rapper, pretty decent. Made this list, so he's gotta be good, right? So that's number 88. Now on to number 87. We got the rapper slash producer, super legend, RZA. So this is a New York based rapper slash producer. He's a founding member. If anything, you can probably look at him as like the leader of the group Wu-Tang Clan. He's almost like the leader of the group. He's like the bass producer, probably the producer for like almost all the records that came out of Wu-Tang. He's also a filmmaker and an actor, so he also dips into the filmmaking industry. He has his credentials on a bunch of movies. I won't go over. I'll name one, like Kill Bill is one of them. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, and then I think I messed up the name, but he was a director and the main actor in a movie where he had like iron hands, and he's like in a kung fu like style movie. You guys are gonna know what I'm talking about. It's pretty cool how he's a long-time super legendary producer slash rapper, and then he also helps out he acts and produces for like movies too. So this guy is a super talent. If this list was about talent, just pure talent doing like a bunch of different things, he would probably be way higher on my list. Like being an actor, a producer, like he's so much different things, you know what I mean? He can rap good enough to still make this list. Like that shows you how good he is, or I should say that shows you how talented he is of a person, and it shows you how good he is at rapping. So I definitely suggest you give one of his songs a listen. Very talented producer. He's a super legend. He uses a lot of kung fu, martial arts like style with his like music. When it comes to like sampling, he does a lot of soul music, but he also samples a lot of like kung fu, old school kung fu movies, you know what I mean, to kind of like give it that Wu-Tang style, you know. He's a legend. He's an absolute legend. Probably in my top 10 when it comes to producers. Yeah, man, the RZA, that guy's a legend. That's all I gotta say. So we'll move on to the last name here. So this one here, this last name that we're moving on to, this isn't a single rapper. This is a group of rappers, right? And this is the Beastie Boys at number 86 on my list. So we got the Beastie Boys, but the only thing with this here is 3 rappers in one group. But I only did it like this just because I feel like they're all kind of like on the same level in terms of like rap skill. So it was kind of hard for me to take one rapper out of this group. Kind of just use Beastie Boys as the name to represent all of their styles at once. We got the Beastie Boys at 86. 3 different rappers, 80 Rock, MCA, and Mike D. They made experimental style hip hop music. You know what I mean? Their music was very different from like anything that was even heard, even till this day. Not a lot of rap songs sound anything like the music that they were making back in the day, back in like the late 80s. Yeah, they started like the mid 80s, something like that. And then they got really famous towards like the early 90s, late 80s. They were associated with like Run DMC and like Rick Rubin. They worked with Rick Rubin a lot. He produced a lot of their records. He's a legendary producer in the hip-hop world. They made like hip-hop punk style like music, you know what I mean? It wasn't so much like straight up hip-hop where it's like beats and then they're just rapping over them. They like to involve a lot of styles into their music to kind of like make it interesting. Great live performers too. So I guess that's all I gotta say for the Beastie Boys. It's just weird to put the group as the name and not like one of the members, you know what I mean? But I think it's the respectful and a fair thing to do is to just put all 3 of their names in and use Beastie Boys to represent all 3 of them, because they're all like the same level in terms of style. And like that's the list from 95 to 86. The next video that you guys are gonna see is gonna be 85 to 76, and then I'm gonna keep moving forward from there. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Till the next video, guys. Looper Norris here. I'll see you. How do I say this?